What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Beth, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a very chatty get ready with me, essentially showing you guys how I accomplish these beachy waves in 5 minutes or less, and also what my current makeup routine is looking like, as well as some major life updates that are going on in our lives right now, all the fun things that are happening behind the scenes. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I am currently fresh faced, no makeup on. I just put on my moisturizer. I'm currently using the Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream. My husband got this for me for Valentine's Day along with the cleanser, and it's been incredible so far. My skin is so sensitive, so I literally just scratched a part up here and it's already like beet red in that one spot because like that's just how sensitive my skin is. So I am going to do foundation and all that stuff, as well as show you guys my hair and how I've been waving it in a little bit because I have gotten a couple questions about that. But I just wanted to do like a sit down chatty kind of catch up with you guys because I feel like there has been so much that has gone on in this past month, and with my friends in real life I can just sit down with them over coffee and we can catch up about everything, but with you guys, like my online friends, it's a little bit more challenging to do that, and so I wanted to just like sit down as if we were having coffee together and just like chat together. So grab a coffee if you feel like you want to do that, and I'm just gonna dive in. So for my makeup, I'm just gonna do what I've been doing in the last couple of weeks. I've been using the Rimmel Lasting Finish 25-hour full coverage foundation for the last couple of weeks. I actually found this one by accident in a Shoppers Drug Mart at one point because I had just ran out of my like actual Sephora one, and I didn't want to spend too much money in the meantime while I was like waiting for my next order to come in. So I was like, I'm just gonna try this, and I ended up actually loving it. If I'm looking over here, it's because that's where the mirror is, but I ended up really liking it, and so I've been using it since then, kind of as like my in-between foundation. This is in the shade Ivory, but overall it's a great foundation, and I'm just going to blend it in with my beauty blender.
She won't ever be caught by nobody. She'll run.
So there's a couple things I want to update you guys on. I feel like there's 4 things in total. Just got myself in the eye. The first one, I feel like I've been nervous to talk about because I just don't want people to kind of like receive it in the wrong way, I guess, and I don't know why they would, but I can just like easily get into my head with all of that stuff, and it's honestly such a bittersweet thing. But the first thing is that I am going back to work in May. So for those of you that don't know, in Canada we have a 12-month maternity leave, which is such a huge blessing. I hear stories from some of you guys who are in the States about the fact that you guys often get like a couple of weeks, and I honestly can't imagine that. I don't know why they haven't changed that yet. It's insane. But I am going back to work in May. I have been, I guess, like a stay-at-home mom for the last year with Vivian, just figuring out having a baby and what all of that looks like. Jared and I have been talking about it so much over the last year, and like literally every single time for me it ended up in tears of the conversation of like whether I would stay at home and be with Vivian full-time and focus on YouTube, or if I would go back to work. And essentially we've come to the conclusion that I will be going back to work. Again, I'm not necessarily sure how long that season will be, but essentially, if you guys don't know, the whole long story short of it is in Canada where we live, it is very expensive to live. We're in Southern Ontario. The housing market is crazy, inflation is crazy, and my husband is a pastor, so our family is in ministry. It's what he does vocationally, what we're called to as a family in that, but you don't necessarily go into ministry to be like rich or anything like that. So do I believe that we could figure it out if we really wanted to and that we could make it work? 100%. I know that there are people that make it work with the wife being at home or even the dad being at home or whatever that looks like, with probably less money than we're currently working with. But for us to be able to make some of the like financial moves that we want to make right now and in this next season, it is going to require 2 incomes. That is something that is frustrating for me because I know that that hasn't always been the way that society has worked, but nonetheless, we are here, and I do like enjoy working. I don't think that I would have started a YouTube channel and invested so much of like my energy and time into it over my maternity leave if I didn't enjoy working. So that's not so much of like the whole thing in it. Basically, and I'm gonna try and keep doing my makeup because I'm already ranting here without making any progress. I'm using the Tarte Ultra Creamy Concealer here. This is the new Shape Tape one that's like a little bit more creamy than their previous formula was. And this is in the shade 16N Fair Light Neutral. But yeah, as I was saying, just like financially, it makes sense for me to be going back to work in this next season. And I was working up until my mat leave with Vivian. So if you guys have been around like on my channel for a while, you would know that I was working full time before I went on to my mat leave. So it's not like I'm going to be doing YouTube with a full-time job for the first time. I actually was doing that and posting weekly for a while before I went on to my mat leave. So if you're wondering like what's gonna happen to the YouTube channel, will I still be on YouTube? Of course, I'm not leaving YouTube. I'm still going to be uploading. My plan right now is to continue uploading weekly. I don't know if that's crazy yet because I was doing that before while I was like very pregnant. However, I didn't have a child yet. And so I don't know like what the rhythm and routines are gonna look like yet of me like coming home and having to like do bedtime and see Jared and like get the house in order and like what all of that is gonna look like in addition to YouTube. YouTube is something that I do feel called to right now. It's something that I feel like God wants me to keep up, and so I don't honestly know what all of the logistics of that look like or going to look like right now. I am just like hoping and praying that you guys will stick through me with it as we figure out what the adjustment looks like. When I go back, I'm hoping that I can even like batch up a couple of videos that you guys have been asking for and just get those like out and have a little bit of runway in terms of like scheduling and things like that. But I also just am like not sure if there's gonna be a week where I'm like I can't do it this week or like, and I just don't want to put like my mental health or our family in a spot where it feels like just this high pressure thing, because at the end of the day this is really fun. It is another job that I have, but it is also like a fun thing, and I want it to be life-giving, not only for myself but also for you guys. And I feel like if I'm not bringing that into it, then it's not actually going to benefit you in the way that I want it to. And so all this to say, I'm just like honestly hoping and praying that you guys can support us through the transition back. It will be at the beginning of May, and so again, I'm going to try and batch up some content just for the first couple of weeks so I can ease into it and get back into it, because I know I'm probably going to be so exhausted and just like a little bit overwhelmed for a bit. But yeah, I would love if you guys could just like, if there is a week that I'm not around, just pray for us and know that I'll be back soon. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna do is go in with this NARS Laguna bronzer. I also got this from Jared for Valentine's Day. He did good on Valentine's Day this year. And I usually just use it to kind of contour my cheekbones, around my nose, and my forehead. And then I'll often put a pop of the bronze just on my eyelid as well for a little bit more color.
Time to hold on to regrets, but I know there's something on the other end. I wish I had known all of this before. I wish I had known, but at least now I know. I wish I.
So when I went off like on to my mat leave, I think I finished as of like May 28th in 2020, and I had Vivian 2 weeks later. So I actually finished a little bit early, took some time at home to like prep and everything like that. So I'm technically going to be going back like a full month early because I'll be starting at the beginning of May, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first thing is that we found phenomenal childcare. So it's a whole long story with lots of like prayer and things behind it, but I had been praying for a really long time about what that would look like, because Jared and I were already starting the conversation of like, am I going back to work or not? And essentially we came to the conclusion that unless we found a childcare solution that checked off all of these different boxes of like having it be someone that we knew really well, having them be someone that is a Christian, having them be someone that is similar in terms of like parenting styles, and basically just like a great environment for Vivian to be in. If all those boxes weren't checked off, like I was planning on staying home. So that's like how serious this debate has been in our house for the past couple of months now. But essentially I had been praying about it, and then I just felt like God put a name on my heart of someone to talk to about it, and I like just felt complete peace about that. I felt like he didn't want me to sign up for any like daycares in the area, which was overwhelming because I kept like talking to my friends and they were like, yeah, I just got on the list, it's really long, like you should probably get on it. And I was like, okay God, like I don't know what you're gonna do here, but I'm trusting you. And I ended up having a conversation with that individual, and they were on board, they said yes, and basically everything fell together really quickly, and it just felt like the timing was right, like this was right. And so God has been very much like present and moving in the details in all of this, which gives me so much more peace about being able to go back. I know for a lot of people, like those things don't line up. And again, like I feel so much for you in those situations because it is such a hard thing. Like thinking about leaving your child with someone else that you don't know. And so you do want to like do your research and make sure that you feel really confident about where they're going. And I feel like I do have that confidence now, which does allow me the opportunity to be able to go back a little bit earlier and to, as I said, think about some of those like financial elements for our family to help us get set up for the future. So to anyone out there that is like in that position right now of thinking about what it's going to look like to go back to work, I am with you on that. I have felt the struggle. I have cried the tears alongside you. I'm planning on like documenting the process so you guys can see like what we do to prepare, like what the process is like for me, even just like emotionally and mentally, so that you guys can, if you haven't gotten there yet, like have a little bit of a support in that too. But if you are a mom that's done it before, drop in the comments like your tips for this, whether that is like really practical things of like meal prep before you go back or the emotional things that you did to help yourself get ready. I would love to know what those are because I am going to be a mess for the next couple of months. As of the time that I'm filming this, we have like 2 months left of being at home before I go back, so I will take any of the tips and tricks that you guys have to actually get myself ready for that transition. So I'm going to go in with my blush now. This is the Merit Flush Bomb Cheek Color in the shade Beverly Hills. You guys know I love Merit. I basically just use the other end of my beauty blender for this, dab it on the bottom, and then pop it on the very top of my cheekbones. Okay, so the second thing that I wanted to tell you guys about is that we are planning on moving again. If you have been following me for a while now, you would know that we literally like just moved. We stayed in the same city, but just kind of like went a little bit more north in the city that we're in. And that was in December 2020. So as of like December 2021, we literally like just hit a full year in our house. So it's only been like a year and a couple months that we have been where we currently are. But my husband and I are already feeling the space constraints of the place that we are living. And it has been phenomenal. We've absolutely loved it. God opened like a crazy door for us to be able to get into this house because again, the market where we are is crazy. To give you guys some context, the condos, townhomes, etc., anything like that in our city right now are selling for about anywhere between $600,000 to $900,000 depending on location, number of bedrooms, so well over $500,000. There's one just across the street from us that just went for like $990 and it's a townhouse. So you may be wondering like why the heck don't you move? Like why would you stay there? And basically like Jared and I just feel so called to our church community that for us, like there's no amount of money in the world that would be worth like uprooting where we are and not having the church community that's around us. Right now we just do feel like God really wants us to be in the city that we're in the church that we're in, and so moving is not really in the cards for us. So essentially, as we've been talking and praying, we've come back to this thought every single time of like, if this is where God wants us to be, he will open the door. Like literally, he will open the door to the house that we need to be in. We saw him do it with the house that we're in right now, and we're believing he's going to do it again. So as I go back to work, that's part of the whole equation of things, but we're planning on buying again this summer. We're looking to kind of find something that we can be in at least for the next like 5 to 7 years. And so it's going to be a crazy year. Thinking about like just having 2 more months of kind of like being in this routine with Vivian where things already feel full, like with YouTube and life and all that stuff. And then this summer thinking about like going back to work, buying a house, moving, like all of that stuff. My brain is just like, this is going to be insane, but we are really excited. We're planning on staying in the area and just finding something with a little bit more space. Before I move into my eyebrows, I am just going to do like a little bit of a shadow liner here on my lid. I'm using the Tarte Toasted palette and I'm going to use the shade Fireside to do that.
As a soulmate, 'cause love is what you make of.
Alright, so moving on to brows, I'm using the Merit Eyebrow Defining Gel, which I love. This is in the shade Blonde. And for my brows, I don't do anything crazy. I basically just brush them up as much as I can. But this current trend of like the laminated soap brows doesn't really work super well for me because my brows are like curlier. I don't know how to describe that properly, but basically they don't necessarily lay flat. Like some of them actually have like an arch in them. And so they can get a little bit crazy, and This is one of the only things that like actually flattens them down really well for me to be able to get a little bit more of that look, but I do my best. And then to just fill them in a little bit so they look slightly less sparse, like on the edges and things where I've over plucked, I'm going in with the Essence Eyebrow Designer, and this is also in the shade Blonde. Before I do my mascara, I'm just going to set basically the base of everything that I've done, and I'm using the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder for that. For my under eyes, I don't bake them or anything like that. I basically just take the excess of what's in the lid and dab it off and then go under my eye to set the powder and help it just stay really bright without creasing during the day. And then to set the rest of my face, I'm going to be using Merit's #1 blending brush, and I basically just tap it into the setting powder, shake it off on the lid, and then go in any of the areas where I tend to get a little bit of shine during the day. Water break. We're thinking we're probably going to be buying a fixer-upper and making some of our own kind of like changes to it in terms of the kitchen and all that stuff. And I keep saying to Jared, the #1 thing that I care about in this next house is like obviously space and bedrooms for kids and all that, but also windows. When it comes to like filming content, YouTube videos, that has been a major pain point for me in this house. We have windows on the front and the back of the house, but that's it. So like in the bathroom, there's no window, like on the sides, there's no windows because it's a townhouse and we're connected to like people on either end. So there's literally like very minimal times in the day that I can film. And if it's like sunrise, I've got to be on one side of the house. If the sun is setting, I got to be on the other side. It's like, where is the highest point in the day? And like coordinating all of that as like a content creator is a nightmare. And so I'm looking to get a little bit more like windows coming in just with natural light. Obviously like more bedrooms is going to be fantastic as well, but I also can't wait to have a kitchen that I love. You guys like have seen my kitchen, you know that I film in the kitchen often. It's not a bad kitchen, but it's so tight and it's really challenging for me to film in there right now. So just having something that is more like open and light is going to be exciting and just wonderful, and I honestly just can't wait. Okay, so for mascara, I'm going to let you guys in on one of my little weird hacks that I do with my mascara. So I often will use 2 different mascaras to do my makeup. Right now I'm using 2 of the same one, but by 2 different, I mean one that is a little bit older and one that's a little bit newer. I obviously don't go beyond the like actual expiry date for a certain mascara to do this trick. Once my mascaras start to dry out, I don't throw it out immediately because I'll use them to do this trick essentially. So I don't ever curl my lashes, but I will take the one like older mascara, and this is my favorite mascara of all time. It's the Essence The False Lashes Mascara, Extreme Volume and Curl. I will take the older one and kind of use that to curl my lashes instead of a curler because it gives it like a little bit more of a volume but also some color as well. And then I go in with the newer one and kind of like give it the extra boost and have that kind of false lash look from that. So it sounds like it would be really clumpy, but I promise it's not. Just trust the process and see what I mean.
Of how it would take just one timely look to dance and fall your way into love, and that's how you'll know he's the one.
Here is how they turn out. I don't know when I figured it out that this was like the perfect way to get like enough of the curl and volume and like actual darkness to the lashes, but I hope that trick works for you. If it does, let me know. It has been part of my makeup routine honestly for years. All right, so I'm gonna finish this off with the MAC Cream lipstick in the shade Brave, and then I'm gonna move on to my hair. So to wave my hair, I use the Infinity Pro Curler by Conair. I swear by this thing. I've been using it for years and years now. And basically what I do is I turn it up to 400, and then I will only hold it on my hair for like a few seconds at a time to get the curl that I want to get. It's like, I find a little bit faster that way when it's really hot, and I don't need to hold it on as long, so kind of evens out. I'm going to go in with a little bit of dry shampoo. This is Batiste, their Bare one, so it's just like more of a natural scent. And I use this for texture, like kind of regardless of whether or not I have washed my hair. As I said, this is second day hair, so it's not actually that greasy or like oily right now, but I do find that it just adds a little bit more texture to my hair, helps it to hold the curl better. So that is what I'm going to be using today. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take the curling iron, hold the clamp open like this, and then basically just go over the curl to smooth a couple of them out. And then I'm going to wrap it around the barrel still with the clamp open. sorry about the cord in the shot right now, and hold it there for like 10 seconds or less. My hair curls really quickly, so if your hair takes a little bit longer to curl, you might need to hold it a little bit longer. But as you can see, in 10 seconds, that's what mine did. So I let go pretty quickly. And basically to get that like beachy wave look, I'll like separate a few pieces out. So I won't do every single piece because my hair already has a little bit of wave to it. And I will go in and just add those curls to kind of give it more of that loose look, and then mix it all together at the end. Okay, so as I mentioned, I do just have some like fun updates as well that are not so like huge as literally going back to work and buying a new house, but we are going to Europe this summer and I am so excited about that because first of all, I've never been to Europe. Second of all, we're going to go see some really good friends of ours that live in Sweden. And third of all, it's just like a dream to be able to travel again and like to Europe of all places. So we are going to be going, I believe, at the end of May and into the first couple weeks of June. So I will be back to work at that point, but like my work knows that this trip was booked in advance. So all of that has been kind of like figured out already. But we're going for, I believe, 10 or 12 days. So it's gonna be like a dream trip. We're starting in Sweden, and then I believe we're also going to be going to Denmark to see Copenhagen. But I'm also so excited because while we are there, we're also going to be going to Paris. Jared and I just figured like we're already there, like it's gonna be close by, and a flight will literally be like less than a couple $100s for us to just like fly down to Paris and do a weekend there. Basically, at this point, we have two options and I'm super stuck between like which one we should do. So like, I'm curious to know what you guys think of like what you would do in this scenario. But the first option is we can bring Vivian, which is like what we were planning on doing all along and like I would actually love to do because I feel like even though she won't remember any of it, it's gonna get harder and harder like as we have more kids to travel with them and to bring them, and like I would love to have her there just to make those memories with her. So I want to be able to bring her, but at the same time we have an opportunity to have her stay with Jared's parents while we're there. Basically, we talked to them and they were like, yeah, like we would love to have her. It would give you guys a chance to like actually have a vacation together. I don't know, because that also sounds so amazing to just like be with my husband for 2 weeks and like in Europe and with our friends and just like being us, because it feels like we haven't had as much opportunity to do that since we've had a baby. So I don't know, that's what I'm really stuck between right now, of like which one would actually be a better idea overall, of like bringing the baby and having her be a part of it, or leaving her and having it just be Jared and I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. So yeah, I don't know, it feels like a hard decision right now and I've just been stuck between the two, going back and forth with all the pros and cons. So again, let me know what you guys think. What would you do if you were in that exact same scenario?
'Cause love is what you make of it. I think I've got a taste of it. I wish I had known all of this before. I wish I...
And that's it. Again, just like running my fingers through it and getting it like a little bit more loose and messy, but it literally took me less than 5 minutes to curl all of that. And so this is how I get that like loose, curly, messy beach hair kind of vibe. I have a visitor. Vivian decided to skip her second nap today. So I've got, a little friend with me for the remainder of this video. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I am going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed just like catching up together on all the things that are going on right now. I know that it was a lot and hopefully that wasn't like so overwhelming with all the information that I shared, but I'm really excited about this next year and what it's gonna look like. Again, I'm not going anywhere, even though when I go back to work in May, things may look a little bit different for a little while in terms of just like figuring out logistics and all of that stuff. I am here to stay on YouTube. I'm gonna be doing this for literally years. So I hope that you guys will stick around as we're figuring that out. And again, if you have any like encouragement or tips or advice on that transition, be sure to drop it in the comments section, because I'm sure there are other moms that would love to hear it, including myself. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and also consider subscribing if you want to stick around and be a part of the family. We'd love to have you. But until my next video, I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys, and I will see you soon.